One slap. That's all it took for an entire elite American high school to destroy itself. When a quiet new girl from the wrong side of town walks into Westbridge Academy, the rich kids think she'll be easy prey, so they humiliate her in front of the whole class, live stream the slap, and laugh like they've done this 100 times before. But what they don't know is, Amara Brooks isn't alone. And her mother isn't just some angry parent, she's a journalist who has already destroyed politicians, exposed corruption, and ruined powerful men on live television. Now the entire school is about to learn a brutal lesson. Some victims don't cry. They collect evidence. And trust me, the ending of this story gets absolutely insane. Before we begin, comment below where you're watching this video from, and stay until the end, because the final twist will not disappoint you. Westbridge Academy looked less like a public high school and more like a private university built for the children of politicians and millionaires. The hallways gleamed under white fluorescent lights. The trophy cases stretched across entire walls, and giant banners celebrating football championships hung from the ceiling like royal flags. Students moved through the corridors in polished groups, laughing too loudly, dressed too well, already aware of where they belonged in the invisible social ranking of the school. And then there was Amara Brooks, standing completely alone near the front office, with a backpack slung over one shoulder, while dozens of curious eyes slowly turned toward her. The secretary barely looked up when she handed over Amara's schedule. "You're late for first period already." Amara nodded once. No apology, no nervous smile, just quiet acceptance. That alone made people stare. New students at Westbridge usually tried too hard. They smiled too much, talked too much, tried to impress the right people within the first hour. But Amara walked through the hallway like she had already learned what kind of place this was before she ever arrived. Calm, observant, uninterested. And unfortunately for her, Ethan Vaughn noticed immediately. He stood beside the football lockers surrounded by his usual crowd, broad shoulders wrapped in a varsity jacket, with his last name stitched across the chest, like it meant something important. Which, at Westbridge, it did. Ethan wasn't just popular. He was untouchable. Teachers protected him because he brought championships. Parents admired him because his family donated money to the school. Students followed him because survival at Westbridge depended on knowing who held power. Ethan watched Amara walk past and tilted his head slightly. "Who's that?" one of his teammates asked. "No idea," Ethan replied, still staring. "But she looks lost already." A few people laughed. Amara kept walking without reacting, but she could feel the attention following her like heat against her back. By lunchtime, almost everyone in school knew there was a new girl. The cafeteria buzzed with noise the second Amara stepped inside carrying a cheap plastic tray and scanning the room for an empty seat. Conversations slowed. Heads turned. Phones lifted subtly. Westbridge students loved fresh entertainment, and outsiders rarely survived long here. Vanessa Cole spotted her first. Vanessa sat at the center table beside Ethan like a queen holding court. Perfect blonde hair, designer clothes, a smile sharp enough to cut glass. She whispered something into Ethan's ear before standing up and deliberately stepping into Amara's path. "Oh my God," Vanessa said loudly enough for nearby tables to hear. "You're the new girl." Amara stopped. "Looks like it." Vanessa's smile widened slightly. Cute outfit. A few students snorted into their drinks. Amara glanced down at her plain blue hoodie before looking back up. "Thanks." The lack of embarrassment caught Vanessa off guard for half a second. "Where'd you transfer from again?" Vanessa asked. "Southbrook." The reaction was immediate. Southbrook wasn't just a poorer district. At Westbridge, it was practically another planet. Ethan leaned back in his chair. Amused now. That explains it. More laughter. Amara finally picked an empty table near the windows and sat down alone while whispers spread across the cafeteria around her. She came from South Brook, seriously. Why would someone transfer here in the middle of the year scholarship, maybe? Or probation. That last comment made Ethan grin. Across the cafeteria, a thin boy sitting by himself near the vending machines kept glancing nervously between Ethan and Amara. After a moment, he stood up and quietly approached her table. "You shouldn't sit alone," he muttered. Amara looked up. "Then why are you alone?" The boy hesitated before giving a weak shrug. "Fair point." He sat across from her anyway. "I'm Noah," he said quietly. "And if you want advice, don't let Ethan Vaughn get interested in you." Amara stabbed her fork into her food. Too late, Noah looked toward Ethan's table, where several students were openly staring at her. "Yeah," he admitted softly. "Probably." Before Amara could ask anything else, the warning bell rang. History class was worse. The teacher, Mr. Bennett, introduced Amara with the exhausted tone of a man already counting the minutes until retirement. She could feel the room studying her while she walked toward the only empty seat left. Right beside Ethan. "Lucky me," Ethan murmured as she sat down. Amara ignored him. Mr. Bennett continued teaching, while Ethan casually spun a pen between his fingers. "So Southbrook," he whispered. "That place as bad as people say, no answer. I heard cops patrol the school parking lot there. Still nothing." Ethan smiled slightly, but irritation flickered behind his eyes now. Most people reacted when he spoke to them. Fear, nervousness, anger, something. Amara gave him absolutely nothing. "So, what happened?" Ethan continued quietly. "Family suddenly hit the lottery. Several students nearby started listening openly now. Amara kept writing notes." Ethan leaned closer. "Or did Westbridge start accepting charity cases?" The class erupted in laughter. Even Mr. Bennett heard it. He glanced over briefly, saw Ethan smiling, then looked away without saying a word. That told Amara everything she needed to know about this school. Ethan sat back in his chair, pleased with himself now. "Relax," he said. "We're just trying to make you feel welcome." More laughter followed, but Amara finally turned toward him, her expression calm enough to unsettle him slightly. "You done?" she asked. The room went quiet for a second. Not because she sounded angry, because she sounded completely unafraid. Ethan's smile faded just a little. Most people at Westbridge either worshipped him or feared him. Amara did neither. And somehow, that bothered him more than open disrespect would have. The bell rang moments later. But Ethan kept watching her gather her books. As students flooded into the hallway, Vanessa appeared beside him immediately. "She's weird." Ethan's eyes stayed fixed on Amara disappearing into the crowd. "No," he said slowly. "She's interesting." That was the moment everything changed. Because when Ethan Vaughn became interested in someone, Westbridge Academy usually turned into a nightmare for them. Later that evening, Amara sat alone on her bed, scrolling silently through her phone, when a notification appeared from an unknown number. "If you're still here after this week, you're going to regret it." Amara stared at the message for several long seconds. Then, without emotion, she deleted it, like someone who had received threats before. Like someone who already knew this story never started with the first warning. By the second morning, Westbridge Academy had already decided who Amara Brooks was. At schools like Westbridge, rumors spread faster than fire alarms and lasted longer than facts. Students whispered about her between classes. posted blurry photos of her on private Snapchat stories, and built entire narratives out of nothing more than the zip code she came from. By lunch period, Ethan Vaughn had turned those whispers into something uglier. Standing beside his football teammates near the math hallway, he casually told anyone willing to listen that Amara had been expelled from her old school after attacking another student. He said it with enough confidence to sound believable, and with just enough vagueness to make people curious. "I heard she got violent," one girl muttered near the lockers. "Nah," another replied. "Ethan said she had psychological issues." That version spread even faster. Amara noticed the stares the second she walked into math class. Conversations stopped when she passed by. Two girls near the window immediately looked down at their phones, pretending not to laugh. Someone behind her whispered the word psycho loud enough for her to hear. But Amara kept walking calmly toward her seat, refusing to give them the reaction they wanted. That only irritated Ethan more. He sat near the back of the classroom with his feet stretched into the aisle, watching her carefully while spinning a pencil between his fingers. Most transfer students broke quickly at Westbridge. Some cried in bathrooms. Some begged teachers for help. Some tried desperately to fit in. But Amara moved through the school with the same controlled silence she had on her first day. And Ethan had started taking that personally. Vanessa entered class a few minutes later carrying an iced coffee and immediately scanned the room until her eyes landed on Amara. A slow smile spread across her face. Ethan leaned toward her and whispered something that made both of them laugh quietly. The teacher had barely started explaining equations on the board when Vanessa stood up dramatically. "Oops," she sighed, stepping directly into Amara's desk and spilling coffee across her notebook and hoodie. The classroom exploded with laughter. "Oh my God!" Vanessa snapped instantly, switching from fake surprise to open hostility in less than a second. "Watch where you're sitting." Amara slowly looked down at the coffee, soaking through her sleeve before raising her eyes toward Vanessa. "You walked into me." Vanessa crossed her arms. "Are you calling me a liar?" Several students immediately lifted their phones. At Westbridge, drama was content before it was reality. "No," Amara replied evenly. "I'm saying you should probably learn how to walk." A few students gasped. Ethan leaned back in his chair, smiling now. This was exactly what he wanted. Vanessa stepped closer. "You think you're funny. I think you spilled coffee on yourself trying to impress people who don't actually care about you." The room went completely silent. Even Ethan's smile faded for half a second. Vanessa's face hardened instantly. "What did you just say?" Amara grabbed her soaked notebook calmly. "You heard me?" That was the moment the situation snapped. Vanessa shoved Amara's shoulder hard enough to knock books off her desk. The class erupted into chaos immediately. Students stood up. Phones rose higher. Someone started live streaming from the back corner of the room while others shouted for them to keep going. "Say it again," Vanessa demanded. Amara stared at her without moving. "You care more about being feared than liked." Vanessa's expression twisted with humiliation because deep down, she knew it was true. And then she slapped her. The sound cracked across the classroom so loudly that several students screamed in shock before bursting into excited laughter. Phones swung toward Amara from every direction, recording her from different angles, as if they had been waiting for this exact moment all week. Someone near the back shouted, "Yo!" She actually hit her, while another student laughed so hard he nearly dropped his phone. Ethan stood slowly, eyes locked on Amara, expecting tears, panic, rage, something. Instead, Amara turned her face back toward Vanessa with terrifying calm. A red mark burned across her cheek, but her expression never changed. Not one tear, not one trembling breath. The entire classroom slowly quieted again. confused by the absence of emotion. Vanessa looked unsettled now. "You gonna cry or something?" Amara looked around at the dozens of phones pointed toward her. Then she spoke softly enough that people had to stop talking to hear it. "You should all hope this video doesn't spread too far." For 1 second, nobody reacted. Then the room exploded with laughter. Ethan laughed hardest. "Oh my God." One football player shouted, "She thinks she's gonna sue somebody." Another student zoomed in closer with his live stream. "Say something else." Psycho Vanessa smirked again. Relieved the room had turned back in her favor. "Nobody cares about you, Amara." But Ethan kept staring at her carefully, because there was something wrong about the way she said it. Not scared, not emotional, almost warning them. By the end of the school day, clips of the slap were everywhere. Students reposted it across TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat with captions mocking Amara. Edits appeared within hours using dramatic music and slow-motion filters. One account uploaded a version zoomed in on the exact moment Vanessa's hand hit her face. Ethan himself posted the most viral version. Westbridge finally broke the weird girl. Within 3 hours, the video passed 200,000 views. By evening, students across the district were commenting on the clip without even knowing who Amara was. Some defended Vanessa. Others mocked Amara's silence. Most just treated it like entertainment. Inside his bedroom, Ethan refreshed the comments with satisfaction, while messages from classmates flooded his phone. "Bro, you're trending. That slap was insane." She looked dead inside. Meanwhile, across town, Amara sat quietly at her desk, staring at the same video playing on her screen. The red mark on her cheek had already faded slightly. Her phone vibrated again and again with unknown numbers, sending laughing emojis and insults. She ignored all of them. Then, suddenly, a new notification appeared. The original video had just been reposted by a verified account. Olivia Brooks investigates. Amara's eyes lifted slowly toward the screen, and for the first time since arriving at Westbridge Academy, she smiled. By the next morning, the slap video had escaped Westbridge Academy completely. It spread through local TikTok pages, gossip accounts, parent Facebook groups, and even regional news forums that loved posting clips of teenage scandals before verifying anything. Thousands of strangers argued in comment sections about a girl they had never met. Some called Amara weak. Others called Vanessa a bully. Most treated the entire thing like entertainment, designed for endless scrolling. Inside Westbridge, however, the atmosphere felt different now. Tense, unstable, like everyone suddenly realized the situation had grown bigger than another high school humiliation video. Ethan Vaughn did not care. At least that was what he told himself while lounging across the expensive leather couch in his family's living room, phone in hand, refreshing the comments under his TikTok post. The video had already crossed 500,000 views overnight. His football teammates spammed laughing emojis in the group chat while students from neighboring schools followed his account just to watch the drama unfold in real time. "She got destroyed." One comment read, "Westbridge kids are brutal." Why does the girl look so calm, though? That last comment annoyed Ethan more than he expected. He replayed the video again, staring at Amara's face after Vanessa slapped her. No tears. No panic. No humiliación. Just that same cold expression and that weird warning she gave the room before everyone laughed at her. You should all hope this video doesn't spread too far. At the time, it sounded ridiculous. Now Ethan wasn't completely sure. His phone suddenly buzzed with a text from Vanessa. "Turn on Channel 8. Now." Ethan frowned and grabbed the remote. The moment the screen lit up, his stomach tightened. A woman stood outside Westbridge Academy holding a microphone while cameras flashed around her. Dark coat, sharp eyes, calm posture. The headline beneath her name froze Ethan completely. Olivia Brooks, investigative journalist. Behind her, the gates of Westbridge were crowded with reporters and angry parents demanding answers about bullying at the school. Ethan sat up slowly. "No way," he muttered. Then the reporter beside Olivia spoke again. Olivia Brooks, whose daughter was recently involved in a viral assault video at Westbridge Academy. Ethan's face drained of color. Downstairs, his father walked into the room holding coffee. "What's going on?" Ethan barely heard him, because suddenly he recognized the name. Everyone did. Olivia Brooks wasn't just some local journalist. She was the woman who destroyed careers on live television. 2 years earlier, she exposed a corruption scandal involving the city mayor and forced him to resign after leaking financial records the government tried to bury. She had taken down school boards, police officials, and corporate executives with investigations that lasted months and ruined reputations permanently. And Amara Brooks was her daughter. "Oh, you idiot," Ethan whispered to himself. Meanwhile, chaos erupted inside the administration office at Westbridge Academy. Principal Howard Reed stood near the blinds in his office, watching reporters gather outside the front gates, while his assistant nervously answered non-stop phone calls from furious parents. "What do you mean she's here in person?" Reed snapped. "She's supposed to be a reporter, not a damn activist. She brought a camera crew." The assistant whispered. Reed cursed under his breath. The situation had already become dangerous. School board members were calling him every 10 minutes demanding explanations. Sponsors connected to the football program were asking questions. Parents threatened lawsuits after discovering multiple bullying accusations had apparently been ignored over the years. And now Olivia Brooks herself was standing outside his school. A knock hit the office door. "She's here," the assistant said quietly. Olivia entered without hesitation. Everything about her felt controlled. Controlled breathing, controlled posture, controlled anger. She carried a folder under one arm, while 2 cameramen waited outside the office doors, filming every second of her arrival. Principal Reed forced a smile. "Mrs. Brooks, I understand emotions are high right now, but I assure you the school is handling this matter internally." Olivia sat down calmly across from him. "No," she replied softly. "You handled it internally yesterday. Today, I'm handling it publicly." Reed's jaw tightened. Olivia opened the folder. "I want access to hallway surveillance footage, classroom security recordings, disciplinary records involving Ethan Vaughn and Vanessa Cole, and every bullying complaint filed at this school within the last 5 years." Reed blinked slowly. "That information is confidential." Olivia leaned back slightly. "Interesting. I'm serious." Reed continued carefully. "There are legal procedures, and there are legal consequences." Olivia interrupted. "Especially when schools ignore harassment until it becomes national entertainment." Reed's expression hardened now. "Mrs. Brooks, with all due respect, students exaggerate things all the time. Teenagers fight. Videos go viral. That doesn't mean there's some conspiracy happening here." Olivia stared at him for several silent seconds. Then she slid a paper across the desk. Reed looked down at it and immediately felt his pulse spike. It was a copied internal complaint form. 3 years old. Student harassment report unresolved. His eyes lifted slowly toward Olivia. "How did you get this?" Olivia's voice remained terrifyingly calm. "That's the wrong question." Reed swallowed hard. "The right question," she continued, "is why your school keeps making complaints disappear. The room went completely silent. Outside the office windows, reporters shouted questions at students entering the building, while cameras continued recording the growing scandal at Westbridge Academy. Reed finally leaned forward carefully. "You're threatening the reputation of this school." Olivia's expression never changed. "No," she said quietly. "I'm threatening the people inside it." For the first time that morning, Principal Reed looked genuinely afraid. Hours later, the tension across campus had become unbearable. Teachers whispered nervously in hallways, while students refreshed social media every few minutes waiting for updates. Ethan avoided eye contact with almost everyone. Even Vanessa looked shaken after learning exactly who Amara's mother was. But the strangest moment came after final period. Amara stood alone near her locker gathering books, when Noah Bennett quietly approached her from behind. He glanced down both ends of the hallway first, like he was afraid someone might be watching. Then he pulled a small black USB drive from his hoodie pocket. "You need to take this," he whispered. Amara frowned slightly. "What is it?" Noah hesitated. Fear flickered across his face so quickly. Most people would have missed it. Then he finally spoke. "Someone died at this school 2 years ago." Amara's expression changed for the first time all day. And Ethan Vaughn was there. Amara did not open the USB drive at school. The moment Noah handed it to her near the lockers, she noticed the way his hands trembled slightly, and the way he kept checking over his shoulder like someone might already be watching them. Whatever was inside that small black device had terrified him long before he decided to give it away. By the time the final bell rang, rumors about Olivia Brooks were still spreading through Westbridge Academy like poison. Students whispered about lawsuits. Teachers suddenly acted nervous around cameras. Ethan Vaughn walked through the hallways surrounded by teammates again, pretending everything remained under control. But even from a distance, Amara could see the tension hidden behind his confidence now. For the first time since she arrived, the school golden boy looked uncertain. That night, rain hammered softly against the windows of Noah Bennett's small house on the edge of town, while Amara sat beside his desk, staring at a laptop screen glowing in the darkness. Noah locked his bedroom door before speaking. "If my mom finds out I gave you this, she'll lose it," he muttered quietly. Amara looked toward him. "Then why did you?" Noah hesitated for several seconds. "Because nobody did anything last time." The sentence hung heavily in the room. He plugged the USB drive into the laptop. At first, the folder looked harmless. Old school files, security clips, random documents. But then Noah opened a video labeled GYM Storage Oct 14. The footage flickered into focus. A younger boy sat on the floor inside what looked like an old equipment room beneath Westbridge's abandoned gym wing. Thin frame, bruised face, broken glasses beside him. He couldn't have been older than 16. The timestamp showed the video was recorded 2 years earlier. His name was Lucas, Noah said softly. Amara watched silently. The video suddenly shook as someone laughed behind the camera. Then Ethan Vaughn stepped into frame. Younger, smaller, but unmistakably Ethan. "Say it again," Ethan demanded while several football players laughed nearby. Lucas kept his head lowered. Ethan grabbed the boy's chin violently and forced him to look at the camera. "Tell everybody why you're crying." "I'm not crying," Lucas whispered. That answer made the room explode with laughter. Another voice joined in. "Vanessa, you look pathetic," she said casually from somewhere behind the camera. "Seriously, Lucas, at least make this entertaining." Amara felt her stomach tighten. The footage continued for nearly 8 minutes. Lucas being shoved into lockers. Football players throwing water bottles at him. Someone writing "freak" across his hoodie in permanent marker while Ethan filmed everything like it was comedy content. The worst part wasn't even the violence. It was the audience. Students standing around laughing, watching, doing nothing. Then the video suddenly cut to another clip. This time recorded in a hallway. Lucas sat outside Principal Reed's office, eyes swollen red, while Reed himself stood in the doorway, speaking quietly to Ethan and two football coaches nearby. The audio was distorted, but one sentence came through clearly. "We cannot let this damage the school's reputation." Amara looked sharply toward Noah. He knew Noah gave a bitter laugh that sounded closer to anger than humor. Everybody knew. The next file was a scanned newspaper article. Westbridge student dies in apparent suicide. Lucas Bennett, age 16. The official statement claimed Lucas had suffered from depression and taken his own life several days after being hospitalized for emotional instability. The school described him as a troubled student dealing with mental health issues. Principal Reed called the death a heartbreaking tragedy. No one could have predicted. Amara slowly looked away from the screen. "What really happened?" she asked quietly. Noah's face hardened instantly. "They destroyed him," he whispered. "Every single day. Videos, threats, fake rumors online. They locked him inside the old gym storage room once for 3 hours while people recorded him screaming. His breathing became uneven now. He reported Ethan 3 times. Nothing happened. Teachers told him to ignore it. Reed told my mom. Lucas was exaggerating things because he wanted attention." Amara stayed silent. Noah stared at the paused image of his brother on the laptop screen. 3 weeks before he died, somebody spray-painted "Kill yourself" across his locker. The room felt suffocatingly quiet after that. Downstairs, Noah's mother moved around the kitchen, unaware her surviving son was reopening wounds the entire town had buried years ago. Amara finally asked the question she already knew the answer to. "Why didn't you go public with this before?" Noah looked at her like she didn't understand the kind of people they were dealing with. "Because this is Westbridge," he said bitterly. "Ethan's family owns half the construction projects in this city. Principal Reed protects the football program like it's religion. And when Lucas died," his voice cracked slightly, "people moved on. But Olivia Brooks did not move on." The following morning, Westbridge Academy woke up to a nightmare. News vans lined the streets outside the school gates before sunrise. Olivia stood in front of cameras, holding printed copies of disciplinary records, while reporters shouted questions over one another. Her newest investigation had already gone live online under the title, "The Bullying System Inside Westbridge Academy." The article didn't mention Lucas by name yet, but it mentioned deleted complaints, ignored harassment reports, students allegedly protected because of family influence. And suddenly parents across the city wanted answers. Inside the administration office, Principal Reed looked seconds away from collapsing. Teachers avoided eye contact. Sponsors connected to the football team began calling the school, demanding damage control. Ethan spent the entire morning refreshing social media as comments turned against him faster than he imagined possible. Wait, this school had bullying complaints before. Why are they hiding records? Who is the dead student people keep mentioning? For the first time in his life, Ethan Vaughn realized public attention could become dangerous. That afternoon, Amara left school under a sky turning dark with rain clouds, while students continued whispering as she walked through the parking lot. Some looked afraid of her now. Others looked angry because she had disrupted the comfortable system Westbridge depended on. She barely noticed. Her mind remained fixed on Lucas Bennett's face frozen on Noah's laptop screen. As she crossed the street toward home, headlights appeared behind her. A black SUV rolled slowly around the corner. Too slowly. Amara kept walking. The vehicle stayed behind her. Every turn she made, it followed. Her heartbeat slowed, instead of speeding up. because suddenly she understood something terrifying. Someone else knew the truth about Lucas, and they were starting to panic. Westbridge Academy no longer felt like a school. It felt like a building waiting for something terrible to happen. Reporters remained parked outside the front gates every morning. Students walked through hallways with phones already recording. And teachers suddenly spoke in nervous half-sentences whenever Olivia Brooks' investigation came up. The atmosphere had shifted completely in less than a week. And nobody felt the pressure more than Ethan Vaughn. For the first time in his life, he was losing control of the narrative. Every social media comment accusing him of bullying Lucas Bennett felt like a personal attack. Every news segment mentioning Westbridge made his father angrier. Every hallway whisper sounded like betrayal. By Thursday morning, Ethan had stopped pretending he was calm. "You're letting this girl destroy everything." His father snapped across the kitchen table inside the Vaughn family mansion. "Do you understand how many people are watching this right now?" Ethan rubbed his hands through his hair aggressively. "I didn't do anything illegal." His father laughed coldly. "That has never mattered." The statement hung heavily between them. Behind Ethan, television screens replayed footage of Olivia Brooks speaking outside the school, while headlines questioned whether Westbridge Academy had covered up years of abuse. Ethan's mother sat silently near the counter, pretending not to listen, which somehow made the tension worse. His father stepped closer. "Listen carefully. Your name does not appear in another scandal. Reed handles this quietly. The school survives, and that girl disappears from the conversation." Ethan swallowed hard, because for the first time, even he wasn't sure how far things were about to go. At school, the pressure became immediate. Principal Reed spent the entire morning rushing between phone calls with board members and furious parents while trying to keep reporters away from students. Football sponsors threatened to suspend funding. Alumni demanded explanations online. Someone had even spray-painted justice for Lucas across the wall near the old gym before sunrise. And then Vanessa Cole walked into first period screaming, "My necklace is gone." The classroom froze instantly. Vanessa stood near her desk looking pale with panic, while several girls gathered around her. "It was in my bag before practice." She insisted loudly. "My grandmother gave it to me." "What necklace?" someone asked. "The Cartier one." Vanessa snapped. That changed everything. Everyone at Westbridge knew about the necklace. Diamond chain. Limited edition. Worth thousands of dollars. Vanessa posted pictures wearing it constantly online. Teachers immediately became involved. Students started whispering. And then, almost too perfectly, someone said Amara's name. "I saw her near Vanessa's locker earlier." The accusation spread through the room with terrifying speed. Amara looked up slowly from her seat. "That's not true." Vanessa crossed her arms instantly. "Then why were you standing near my bag yesterday?" "Because the hallway exists." Amara replied flatly. Several students laughed nervously, but Ethan watched silently from the back of the room. And something about the situation felt rehearsed. Too clean, too fast. Within 20 minutes, Amara was escorted to the disciplinary office. The humiliation was intentional. Principal Reed didn't even try hiding it. Instead of handling the situation privately, he ordered Amara's locker searched during passing period while half the school crowded the hallway pretending not to stare. Phones appeared instantly. Live streams began within seconds. Students climbed onto benches to get better angles while whispers spread through the corridor like electricity. "She actually stole it." "No way. I knew something was wrong with her." Amara stood beside her locker, surrounded by administrators, while Principal Reed spoke in his practiced, fake calm voice. "Miss Brooks, if the necklace is found, cooperating now would make this easier for everyone." Amara stared directly at him. "You already decided I'm guilty." Reed ignored the comment. Two administrators opened her locker. Nothing. Then one of them reached into the front pocket of Amara's backpack and froze. The hallway erupted. Vanessa's necklace glittered under the fluorescent lights as the administrator slowly pulled it into view. Students screamed. Phones lifted higher. Someone shouted, "Oh me God." She actually stole it. Amara's expression finally shifted, not panic, but disbelief. Genuine disbelief. "That's not mine," she said immediately. Vanessa stepped forward dramatically. "You're seriously denying it right now," Ethan watched carefully. Something felt wrong. Amara looked directly at Reed. Somebody planted that. But the principal's face remained cold and controlled. Enough. Around them, students recorded every second while social media notifications exploded in real time. One live stream already had thousands of viewers. Comments flooded the screen faster than anyone could read them. "The poor girl stole it." "Westbridge thief exposed." "Olivia Brooks' daughter is a criminal." Amara stood trapped in the center of the hallway while strangers turned her humiliation into entertainment again. And somewhere inside the crowd, Ethan noticed Noah Bennett staring at the necklace with growing confusion instead of shock. That detail mattered. Hours later, Noah sat alone inside the computer lab replaying security footage he secretly copied from the hallway cameras earlier that morning. His fingers moved rapidly across the keyboard while rain slammed against the windows outside. "Come on," he muttered quietly. The footage showed Vanessa walking through the hallway near Amara's locker. Then static flickered across the screen for less than 2 seconds. When the image returned, Vanessa was already gone. Noah frowned. He rewound the clip again. Same glitch. Again. Same exact distortion. His pulse quickened. Security footage did not glitch in identical patterns unless someone edited it manually. Noah zoomed closer toward the timestamp. The metadata had been altered. Someone had tampered with the recording. His face slowly drained of color. Because suddenly this was no longer just bullying. Somebody inside Westbridge Academy was actively helping cover things up. That night, Olivia Brooks sat alone inside the temporary newsroom she had built in the family dining room, surrounded by printed documents and open laptops, while rain rattled softly outside the windows. Every lead she followed seemed to connect back to the school administration somehow. Then her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered cautiously. "Who is this?" For several seconds. Only silence answered her. Then a nervous male voice spoke quietly. "You're investigating the wrong person." Olivia's expression sharpened instantly. "Excuse me." The voice lowered further. "Principal Reed isn't the most dangerous person at Westbridge." And then the line disconnected. By Friday night, Ethan Vaughn needed the world to see him smiling again. For nearly a week, Westbridge Academy had turned into a pressure cooker of rumors, investigations, and non-stop media attention. Olivia Brooks' reports continued spreading online. Students whispered Lucas Bennett's name in hallways again, and every time Ethan opened social media, he saw comments accusing him of being a bully, a coward, or worse. His father demanded control. Principal Reed demanded silence. Vanessa demanded reassurance. But Ethan understood something. None of them wanted to admit perception mattered more than truth now. And if people saw him laughing, partying, and surrounded by loyal friends again, maybe the scandal would finally start dying. So he did what rich boys always did when things became dangerous. He threw a party. The Vaughn mansion sat on the hills overlooking the city, glowing under expensive outdoor lights while luxury cars lined the driveway like a dealership showroom. Music thundered through the massive property hard enough to shake the glass walls facing the pool outside. Hundreds of students flooded the house carrying drinks. phones already recording TikToks before they even entered. Some came for the music. Most came because they sensed drama waiting to happen. And Ethan made sure of it. Inside the mansion, giant projector screens played football highlights and party visuals, while students packed around the indoor bar screaming lyrics over deafening bass. Ethan moved through the crowd, shaking hands and laughing louder than necessary. Rebuilding the image, he felt slipping away all week. Vanessa stood beside him wearing a tight silver dress, smiling for cameras, while secretly feeling sick to her stomach. Ethan had barely spoken to her properly since the necklace incident. Every conversation felt colder now, more calculated. Earlier that afternoon, she accidentally saw messages on Ethan's phone discussing damage control with one of his teammates. If things go bad, Vanessa takes the fall too. The sentence still echoed in her head. Across the room, Noah Bennett entered quietly through the back doors wearing a dark hoodie despite the heat inside the mansion. He immediately spotted Amara near the edge of the crowd beside the staircase. "You actually came," he said nervously. Amara scanned the room carefully. Anonymous invitation. That's not a good sign here. Nothing about the night felt normal. Students kept staring at Amara while whispering into each other's ears. Football players smirked whenever she walked past. Several phones tracked her movements openly, like they were waiting for something specific to happen. And Ethan noticed every second of it. He approached slowly, holding a drink in one hand. Confidence painted across his face again. "Glad you made it," he said smoothly. Amara looked at him without expression. "You invited me," Ethan smiled. Thought maybe the school villain deserved a social life. Nearby students laughed immediately. Noah stepped slightly closer to Amara. "We should leave." But Ethan's grin widened. "Relax. Tonight's about moving on." That sentence became terrifying 30 minutes later. The party reached full chaos by midnight. Students danced around the glowing pool outside, while live streams flooded TikTok under hashtags connected to Westbridge. Music blasted through hidden speakers across the property. Alcohol spilled everywhere. Somebody had climbed onto the pool table recording themselves, screaming Olivia Brooks conspiracy theories while football players hyped them up. Then suddenly, the lights went out. The entire mansion erupted in confused screams and laughter. Phones lit up instantly across the darkness. "What the hell, yo? Did somebody kill the power?" A second later, the massive projector screens flickered back on, and Amara's face appeared. The room exploded. A manipulated video montage filled every screen inside the mansion, showing edited clips designed to make Amara look violent and unstable. Fake screenshots appeared accusing her of attacking students at her old school. Altered audio made it sound like she threatened teachers. Someone even edited footage from the slap incident to make her look aggressive toward Vanessa before the hit. The crowd roared with laughter. Students pointed phones toward Amara again while cruel comments echoed through the mansion. "She's actually insane. No wonder she got expelled. This is so messed up." Ethan stood near the projector controls, pretending surprise badly enough that only drunk people believed him. Vanessa slowly looked toward him in disbelief. "You planned this?" Ethan never answered. Across the room, Amara stood completely still, while humiliation crashed around her from every direction again. Livestream comments exploded across dozens of phones. Westbridge exposed her. She deserved it. Psycho Girl got caught. Then Ethan grabbed a microphone. Guess the internet doesn't know the full story after all. The crowd cheered loudly. But Noah suddenly noticed something. Amara wasn't scared. She was waiting. The projector screens abruptly glitched. Ethan frowned. What the fake scandal video disappeared instantly. And the room went silent. New footage replaced it. Raw security clips. Hallway harassment. Football players cornering Lucas Bennett. Vanessa laughing while students shoved him into lockers. Then Ethan himself appeared on every giant screen inside the mansion, threatening a terrified student against the wall. "If you talk to reporters again, I swear your life's over." The entire party froze. Another clip appeared. Edited security timestamps. Deleted camera footage. Metadata, proving surveillance files had been manipulated during the necklace incident. Gasps spread through the crowd now instead of laughter. "What the hell? Is that real, bro?" "Turn that off." Ethan's face drained completely of color. "No." He snapped at one of his teammates. "Kill the projector," but more footage kept appearing. Lucas crying inside the old gym. Principal Reed speaking privately with football coaches. Chat screenshots discussing how to bury complaints before Olivia Brooks gained access to school records. Suddenly nobody was filming Amara anymore. Now they were filming Ethan. Vanessa stared at the screens in horror, while realization Ethan had not been protecting anyone. He had been preparing sacrifices, including her. "You were going to blame me," she whispered. Ethan turned toward her sharply. "Vanessa, you said the necklace thing would disappear," she hissed. "You told me nobody would ever see those messages." For the first time all night, Ethan genuinely looked afraid. The mansion erupted into screaming chaos. Students shoved past each other trying to leave, while others kept recording the projector screens before the evidence disappeared. Social media notifications exploded in real time. Live stream viewers skyrocketed into the tens of thousands within minutes, and then red and blue lights flashed through the mansion windows. "Police." Everyone froze. Several students immediately pointed toward Ethan. "Oh my God, they're here for him." Even Ethan looked ready to collapse. The front doors burst open as officers entered the mansion, scanning the crowded room. The music had already died completely. Nobody moved. Then the lead officer spoke loudly. "We're looking for Noah Bennett." Silence crashed across the entire mansion. Noah's face went white instantly. Ethan slowly lifted his head. And then, for the first time that night, he smiled. The chaos inside Ethan Vaughn's mansion disappeared. The second police officers dragged Noah Bennett through the front doors in handcuffs. Music stopped. Live streams exploded. Students moved aside like frightened spectators watching a public execution. Only minutes earlier, everyone believed Ethan was finished. After the projector screens exposed bullying footage, altered security recordings, and threatening messages connected to Lucas Bennett's death. But now the entire situation had shifted again so violently that nobody understood what was happening anymore. Noah certainly didn't. "This is insane," he shouted, while officers forced him down the mansion steps. "I didn't hack anything. Save it for the station." One officer replied coldly. Phones followed Noah from every angle, while whispers spread instantly through the crowd. They arrested him. Wait. Noah leaked the footage, so he hacked the school system. Ethan stood near the doorway, watching silently as panic swallowed the party whole. The fear he felt earlier had vanished almost completely now, replaced by something colder. Calculation. He looked toward Amara for a brief moment, almost like he wanted her to understand something. "You can expose me, but I can still destroy people faster than you can save them." Amara stepped forward immediately. "This is a setup." The officers ignored her. Vanessa stared at Ethan in disbelief. "You called the police?" Ethan didn't answer. That silence was answer enough. An hour later, Noah sat alone inside a gray interrogation room beneath harsh fluorescent lights while rain hammered against the police station windows outside. His hoodie strings were gone. His phone had been confiscated. Across the metal table, two detectives spread printed screenshots beside an open laptop displaying system logs from Westbridge Academy. "You accessed the school server 3 nights ago." One detective said, "No, I didn't. We have timestamps. They're fake." The older detective leaned back. Funny thing about hackers. They always think everyone else is stupid. Noah clenched his jaw hard enough to hurt. I leaked videos from my own flash drive. I never touched the school server. The detectives exchanged a look. Then the younger officer slid another document across the table. Bank transfers. Anonymous payments linked to an online account under Noah's name. You want to explain these? Noah stared at the papers in horror. I've never seen this account before. But even he understood how bad it looked. Someone had built an entire case around him before the police ever arrived at Ethan's mansion. Across town, Olivia Brooks stormed through the police station entrance, carrying folders beneath one arm, while reporters chased after her with cameras already recording. My client is a minor. She snapped toward the front desk. And unless you're charging him formally, this interrogation ends now. Noah looked up in shock when she entered the room moments later. Olivia closed the door behind her carefully before lowering her voice. They're framing you. Noah laughed bitterly. Yeah, I figured that out. Olivia studied the files spread across the table. Fabricated digital evidence. Fake login timestamps. Anonymous witness statements. Whoever built the case understood exactly how to manipulate systems without leaving obvious fingerprints. Which meant this wasn't just Ethan anymore. Adults were involved. Powerful ones. Meanwhile, Ethan returned home long after midnight, expecting relief. Instead, he found his father waiting inside the dark living room holding a glass of whiskey. You let the situation escalate too far, his father said calmly. Ethan frowned. It's handled now. No. His father replied. Handled means nobody asks questions afterward. Ethan stayed silent. His father stepped closer slowly. You understand what happens if Olivia Brooks gets real evidence connected to Lucas Bennett. She won't. That confidence is exactly what worries me. For the first time all week, Ethan looked uncertain again. Because deep down, even he no longer knew where all the evidence was. Vanessa Cole couldn't sleep. The party replayed endlessly in her mind, the projector footage, Lucas crying on screen, Ethan threatening witnesses, the way he stood completely silent while police arrested Noah instead. By morning, guilt sat so heavily in her chest, she could barely breathe. She locked herself inside her bedroom and opened old messages she hadn't looked at in years. At first, it was just curiosity. Then it became horror, buried inside old archived group chats connected to the football team. Vanessa found deleted media files. Ethan once demanded everyone erase after Lucas died. Most links no longer worked. One still did. Her hands trembled slightly as the video loaded. The clip showed Lucas alone inside the old gym hallway 2 weeks before his death. Someone had filmed from around the corner while Ethan blocked Lucas against the lockers. You think reporting me changes anything? Ethan laughed. Lucas looked exhausted. Broken already. Please just leave me alone. Ethan stepped closer. You know what your problem is. You keep thinking people care. Then someone behind the camera laughed while Lucas slowly slid down the locker wall trying not to cry. Vanessa covered her mouth instantly. Because she remembered this day. She remembered laughing too. But there was something else in the footage she didn't remember. Ethan taking Lucas's phone afterward. Deleting something. Delete the video. Ethan told whoever was recording. Nobody needs to see this. Vanessa stared at the screen in complete silence. Suddenly everything connected together. The erased complaints. The altered security footage. The necklace setup. Noah's arrest. Ethan had never been protecting their friend group. He had been protecting himself. And if the scandal exploded badly enough, he would sacrifice anyone standing near him to survive it. Including her. Vanessa finally understood something horrifying about the boy she spent years defending. Ethan Vaughn did not feel loyalty. only self-preservation. Hours later, rain poured across the city again, while Vanessa sat alone inside her car, parked 3 blocks away from her own house, staring at Olivia Brooks' contact number glowing on her phone screen. Her breathing shook slightly before she finally pressed call. Olivia answered immediately. "Who is this?" Vanessa looked through the windshield nervously, as headlights passed across the wet streets outside. Then she whispered the words that would change everything. "I have something you need." Silence answered her for a second. Vanessa swallowed hard. "But if Ethan finds out I betrayed him," her voice cracked slightly now, "he'll destroy my life." Vanessa Cole arrived at Olivia Brooks' temporary newsroom just after midnight wearing sunglasses, despite the rain, and carrying a backpack clutched tightly against her chest like it contained explosives. In a way, it did. The dining room inside the Brooks house no longer looked like a family space anymore. Laptops covered every surface. Printed timelines stretched across walls. Coffee cups. Legal documents. Disciplinary records. And photographs connected by handwritten notes turned the room into something closer to a criminal investigation than a journalism project. Olivia stood near the center table waiting silently, while Amara watched from the hallway. Arms crossed tightly against herself, Vanessa looked terrified. She kept checking the windows before finally dropping the backpack onto the table. "You need to understand something first," she whispered. "If Ethan figures out I gave you this, I'm done." Olivia slowly unzipped the bag. Inside were printed emails, flash drives, screenshots, and folders stolen from multiple private student accounts connected to the football program. Vanessa's voice shook while she explained. "He made everybody delete things after Lucas died," she said quietly. "Videos, message, threats. But Ethan always kept copies himself because he liked having leverage." Olivia opened one file after another in stunned silence. Private emails between Principal Reed and wealthy parents discussing protecting the school image. Lists of student complaints marked resolved, despite no disciplinary action ever being taken. Messages from football coaches warning students not to speak with reporters. And worst of all, a hidden spreadsheet. Student names, dates, descriptions. Victims systematically pressured into silence after reporting bullying incidents at Westbridge Academy over the last 4 years. Amara stared at the screen. "Oh my God, there's more," Vanessa whispered. She handed Olivia another flash drive. "This one has deleted security footage. Reed ordered removed after Lucas died." Olivia looked up sharply. "How did you get this?" Vanessa laughed bitterly. "Ethan trusted me too much." The room fell silent after that. Because suddenly this wasn't a bullying scandal anymore. It was institutional corruption. And everyone in the room understood the explosion coming next. The special report aired the following evening, at exactly 7:00 p.m. Every local station interrupted regular programming as Olivia Brooks appeared on screen beneath a title that instantly sent panic through Westbridge Academy, "The System That Protected Bullies." The broadcast was devastating. Security footage showed students being harassed, while teachers walked past pretending not to notice. Internal emails revealed administrators discussing how to minimize public damage instead of helping victims. Former students appeared anonymously describing years of intimidation, humiliation, and threats connected to the football program. Then Olivia revealed Lucas Bennett's story publicly for the first time. Pictures of Lucas filled television screens across the city, while Noah's recorded interview played over the footage. "They treated my brother like entertainment," Noah said quietly. "And when he broke, the school called it depression." Social media exploded instantly, within minutes. Number "Justice for Lucas" began trending statewide. By the end of the hour, Westbridge Academy had become national news. The fallout came faster than anyone expected. The school hallways the next morning felt like a collapsing building. Teachers whispered behind closed doors. Students refreshed news apps every few seconds. Reporters crowded outside every entrance while angry parents screamed at administrators near the parking lot. Several football players removed Westbridge logos from their social media accounts before first period even started. Then the sponsors began leaving. First came the sportswear company funding new athletic facilities. Then the luxury car dealership sponsoring the football stadium. Then, two major donors publicly suspended all financial support pending investigation. Principal Reed looked physically ill walking through the administration hallway while board members demanded emergency meetings behind closed doors. Rumors spread that state education officials were already reviewing disciplinary records connected to Westbridge. But the worst moment came during lunch. Hundreds of parents gathered outside the school gates carrying signs demanding accountability. Protect students, not athletes. Justice for Lucas. How many more? Students pressed against cafeteria windows recording the protest while helicopters circled overhead capturing live news footage. The atmosphere inside Westbridge had completely transformed from arrogant privilege into fear. Real fear. Because now adults were involved. Lawyers. Investigators. State officials. And for the first time in years, nobody knew who could still be protected. Amara walked through the hallways under constant stares again. But this time the energy felt different. Students no longer looked at her like prey. Some avoided eye contact entirely. Others looked ashamed. A few even whispered apologies when she passed. Vanessa barely appeared in public at all, and Ethan Vaughn vanished completely. By afternoon, rumors spread that his father pulled him from school. Others claimed lawyers advised him to stay hidden. Some students insisted they saw police cars near the Vaughn mansion earlier that morning. Nobody knew the truth. That uncertainty made everything worse. Inside the emergency school board meeting that evening, shouting echoed through the building loud enough for reporters outside to hear through closed doors. Parents demanded resignations. Lawyers threatened lawsuits. One board member openly accused Principal Reed of obstruction and negligence while cameras flashed outside every window. Westbridge Academy was collapsing in real time, and Ethan Vaughn was nowhere to be found. Late that night, Amara finally sat alone inside her bedroom for the first time, in days without reporters outside or news alerts screaming through the television downstairs. Rain tapped softly against the windows, while exhaustion settled heavily into her bones. Across the room, her phone buzzed constantly with messages from strangers online. Some supportive, some hateful, some threatening. She ignored all of them. Then another notification appeared. Unknown number. Amara opened it slowly. You destroyed my life. Her chest tightened instantly. A second message arrived before she could react. Now it's my turn. Amara stared at the screen as cold dread crept slowly through her body. Because deep down, she already knew exactly who sent it. And somewhere out there tonight, Ethan Vaughn was angry enough to become dangerous. Ethan Vaughn disappeared from Westbridge Academy. But somehow his presence became even more terrifying afterward. Students whispered about sightings like urban legends spreading through the city. Someone claimed they saw him sitting inside a black SUV near the football stadium after midnight. Another student swore Ethan followed them through a grocery store parking lot before vanishing again. Rumors multiplied faster than facts. But one thing became painfully clear within days: Ethan was unraveling. The golden boy of Westbridge Academy had lost the only thing that ever protected him: control. And now he wanted someone to blame. Amara felt it before she fully understood it. The first time was outside her house. A black SUV sat across the street with its headlights off just after sunset. By the time she looked again, it was gone. The second time happened near a gas station, while Olivia met privately with lawyers connected to the Westbridge investigation. Amara spotted Ethan standing near the far end of the parking lot, wearing a dark hoodie pulled low across his face. He didn't approach her. He just watched. The third time terrified her. She was walking home from a convenience store when footsteps echoed behind her along the empty sidewalk. Slow, measured, matching her pace exactly. Amara turned sharply, heart pounding hard against her ribs. But nobody stood there. Only silence, and a fresh text message glowing on her phone screen. "You think you won?" Amara immediately scanned the street again. Nothing. But somewhere nearby, Ethan Vaughn was watching her panic grow. Noah Bennett was released 2 days later, after Olivia's lawyers dismantled most of the fabricated evidence connected to the hacking accusations. The police refused to apologize publicly. But the damage had already been done. News channels spent hours debating whether the school investigation had influenced law enforcement improperly. Noah returned home exhausted, pale, and angrier than Amara had ever seen him. They wanted somebody easy to blame. He muttered, while sitting in Olivia's temporary newsroom surrounded by stacks of evidence. "And Ethan knew nobody would defend me fast enough." Olivia looked up from her laptop. That's because whoever helped build the case expected fear to keep everyone quiet. Noah stared toward Amara. "You shouldn't be alone anymore." Amara crossed her arms. "I'm not hiding from him. That's exactly what Ethan wants." Noah snapped. "He wants you scared enough to make mistakes." Before Amara could answer, Olivia's phone buzzed violently across the table. Another anonymous source. Another leaked document. Another former Westbridge student finally deciding to speak after years of silence. The investigation had grown far beyond Lucas Bennett now. At least 11 former students had privately contacted Olivia, claiming they experienced harassment, intimidation, or threats connected to the football program during Principal Reed's administration. And buried among the newest files was something far worse. Financial records. Olivia's expression darkened instantly as she opened them. "What is it?" Noah asked quietly. She turned the screen slowly toward them. 3 wire transfers. Large amounts. Sent from a private account connected to Richard Vaughn, Ethan's father. Recipient Bennett family legal settlement. Amara frowned. Settlement? Noah's face slowly drained of color. "My mom." Olivia clicked open another attached file. A non-disclosure agreement. Signed 2 months after Lucas Bennett's death. The room went completely silent. Richard Vaughn had paid Noah's family years earlier. Not out of sympathy. To bury the case, Noah looked physically sick reading the documents. "My mom told me it was insurance money after the funeral." Olivia shook her head slowly. It wasn't insurance. It was hush money. The realization shattered something inside Noah instantly. Every ounce of grief he spent years trying to survive, suddenly twisted into betrayal. His family had been manipulated while powerful people protected Westbridge Academy from scandal. And Ethan grew up knowing his father could erase consequences with money. That night, the city exploded again. At exactly 11:47 p.m., students across Westbridge received live stream notifications from Ethan Vaughn's private account. Thousands joined within minutes. The video opened shakily inside what looked like an abandoned parking garage, somewhere outside the city. Ethan stood in front of the camera wearing a black hoodie while rain echoed through the empty structure behind him. His eyes looked bloodshot, unfocused, dangerous. "You all wanted the truth so bad," he laughed bitterly. "Fine. Here's the truth." Comments flooded instantly. "Bro, where are you? He looks insane. Call the cops." Ethan stared directly into the camera. "Everything happening right now is because of Amara Brooks." Amara watched the live stream from Olivia's newsroom while dread crawled slowly through her chest. "She came here looking for problems." Ethan continued angrily. "Nobody cared about Lucas anymore until she started digging around. Nobody was talking about Westbridge until her psycho mother turned this school into a circus. No, Noah whispered. He's spiraling. Ethan paced across the empty garage, while rainwater dripped through cracks in the ceiling behind him. You know what the funniest part is? He snapped suddenly. Everybody acts innocent now. Teachers, students, parents. But they all watched. Every single one of them watched. His breathing became uneven. Now, suddenly, I'm the monster. The live stream comments exploded faster than anyone could read them. He's losing it. This is evidence. Somebody track his location. Then Ethan leaned closer toward the camera. But Amara, his voice lowered dangerously. You ruined my life. Amara's stomach tightened instantly. And now, Ethan whispered, I'm going to ruin yours. The live stream ended abruptly. Nobody spoke for several seconds afterward. Rain hammered against the windows outside, while Olivia immediately grabbed her phone and started calling contacts inside local law enforcement. Noah looked ready to leave immediately. We need to find him before he does something stupid. No. Olivia corrected coldly. Before he does something violent, hours later. Close to 2:00 a.m. Olivia finally left the newsroom carrying a folder containing every unreleased document connected to Westbridge Academy. Full financial records, witness testimony, settlement agreements, everything. Tomorrow morning. She planned to publish the largest exposé of her career. The streets were nearly empty as she drove through the rain-covered highway outside the city. Then headlights appeared behind her. Fast? Too fast. Olivia checked the mirror once. A black SUV accelerated violently through the storm, straight toward her car, and then it slammed directly into her from behind. The crash footage reached the internet before the ambulance reached the hospital. Grainy highway surveillance clips showed Olivia Brooks' car spinning violently across the rain-soaked road after a black SUV slammed into it at full speed. By sunrise, every news station in the state was running the same headline across their screens. Investigative journalists targeted after Westbridge expose. The city erupted. Outside St. Gabriel Medical Center, reporters crowded behind police barricades while cameras pointed toward the emergency entrance non-stop. Protesters gathered again carrying signs demanding arrests. Parents screamed at school officials during live interviews. Online, millions of people watched clips connected to the Westbridge scandal as the story exploded far beyond local news. And inside a hospital room on the third floor, Olivia Brooks opened her eyes. The room blurred into focus slowly. Machines beeped beside her. Rain tapped softly against the windows. Pain spread through her shoulder and ribs every time she breathed. But the first thing she noticed was Amara sitting beside the bed with swollen eyes and clenched hands. You're alive, Amara whispered. Olivia managed a weak smile. Disappointed, Amara laughed once through tears before immediately looking away. For the first time since arriving at Westbridge Academy, she looked emotionally exhausted instead of controlled. A doctor entered moments later explaining Olivia suffered fractured ribs, a concussion, and minor internal injuries, but somehow survived the collision without life-threatening damage. Police already classified the crash as suspicious due to witness statements describing the SUV accelerating intentionally before impact. Olivia barely listened, because even lying in a hospital bed, she understood the attack changed everything. This was no longer a school scandal. Now it was criminal. Hours later, police officers filled the hospital hallway, while detectives questioned Olivia about recent threats connected to her investigation. Amara stood nearby, listening silently, until one detective asked the question everyone feared. Do you believe Ethan Vaughn was involved? Olivia answered without hesitation. I believe someone got desperate. Meanwhile, Westbridge Academy collapsed publicly in real time. The school board called an emergency assembly inside the auditorium after state investigators officially arrived on campus that morning, carrying boxes for disciplinary records and financial documents. Teachers stood in nervous silence, while students packed the seats, whispering into phones. Outside the building, helicopters circled overhead, broadcasting live footage nationwide. Principal Howard Reed looked 20 years older when he stepped onto the stage. His hands shook slightly against the podium. For several long seconds, he couldn't speak. Then he finally looked up at the students. "I failed this school." The room went silent instantly. Cameras recorded every second. Reed swallowed hard before continuing. "For years, I convinced myself protecting Westbridge Academy meant protecting its reputation. I told myself scandals would destroy opportunities for innocent students. I told myself silence was temporary." His voice cracked slightly. But silence became permission. Parents watching the live stream online erupted immediately. Students exchanged stunned looks. Then came the moment nobody expected. "I was prepared to report everything after Lucas Bennett died," Reed admitted quietly. "But I was threatened." The auditorium exploded with noise. "What threatened by who?" Reed closed his eyes briefly before answering. "The Vaughn family." Even the reporters outside the stage doors fell silent. Reed continued speaking while cameras flashed non-stop around him. "Richard Vaughn informed me that if the school publicly connected Ethan to Lucas Bennett's harassment case, Westbridge would lose funding, sponsorships, and legal protection. I convinced myself keeping the school alive mattered more than exposing the truth." His breathing grew uneven now. "I was wrong." Outside the auditorium, reporters sprinted toward phones trying to break the story first. Inside the hospital, Olivia watched Reed's confession replay across television screens, while detectives immediately began issuing new warrants connected to obstruction, bribery, and witness intimidation. And then Vanessa Cole walked into the storm. The city press conference began 3 hours later outside the Education Council building downtown. News vans lined entire blocks, while cameras crowded shoulder to shoulder waiting for statements from investigators. Nobody expected Vanessa to appear. But she did, wearing black sunglasses and visibly shaking. Vanessa stepped toward the microphones beside Olivia's legal team, while whispers exploded through the crowd. "That's Ethan's girlfriend. She's actually talking, oh my God." Vanessa removed the sunglasses slowly. Her eyes looked exhausted from days without sleep. Then she spoke. "I helped hide things." The reporters surged forward instantly. Vanessa's voice trembled. But she kept going. "I laughed at students who were hurting. I ignored what Ethan was doing because being close to him made people afraid of me too." Tears finally filled her eyes. "Lucas Bennett asked for help. We all saw it. And none of us stopped it." The entire city seemed to hold its breath. Then Vanessa dropped the final bomb. "Ethan deleted evidence after Lucas died. And his father paid people to stay quiet." Questions erupted everywhere at once. Did Ethan attack Olivia Brooks? Did the school board know? Were students threatened? Vanessa looked completely broken now. "I think Ethan stopped caring about consequences a long time ago." That sentence reached Ethan Vaughn less